cha Igbo kwezuonu ya. Oko nyamini koko nyamiri koko nyamiri koko nyamiri Igbole Igbo bunu ndamamihe Igbole Igbo bunu ndamamihe Ebulanyelu Anamabara na ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye ofeke Anamabara nọ n'ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye feke Igbo bụ ndị ike ụmụ Igbo bụ ndị ike ụmụ Igbo bụ ndị ike ụmụ Igbo bụ ndị ike koko
The live chat. Are you back in?
All is well.
Huh?
Yeah, you are now. Yeah, you are now.
I can't hear you. I'm not muted. I can't hear you. I'm trying to join this chat so I could tell people that we're having technical difficulties. So connect your YouTube account to join the live chat. I click on signed out. Oh. Each no. You just look like Noah. Chineke God. Just look like Noah. Oh my God. The resemblance was just uncanny.
Go back to life.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. I was just
well, we're back. I want to apologize to everyone. We're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I posted it in there.
The problem is whoever is here, I do want to apologize to you. Ukuna Ugochukwu, thank you so much for joining us. Onyeka CN, I'm not sure who that is. I think that's the person that was invited by Dibias. So for all of you who have joined us, I do apologize. Sometimes we just have this very difficult situation with the internet. And I think I'm going to upgrade, Yudi.
Yeah.
Yudi, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely. I'm going to upgrade. So I'm going to upgrade so that we don't keep having this challenge every day with this Xfinity. That's who we have, but we're having challenges with it. So Yudi, how are you doing this morning? Let's just forget all our troubles.
All right. I'm doing all right.
Talk
Glad
about
we got that out of the way.
Day is going to bring.
Yeah. Well, so
far so good.
So far so good. Mama. What would delay and I give say if I ain't. So I'm very grateful. Every day above ground is a good day. Sorry to the viewers out there for the difficulty we've had this morning, technically speaking. But we're here now. So let's get the show on the road and bless one another today.
You know what? I am just going to say that no matter what, just like you said, the show must go on. It may be that I may have to change the forum that we use. Right now, when on YouTube, and I would think that should make it easier to work with. But anyway, there's no need for us to belabor the obvious. There's technicality issues, and so we're gonna move on. So Yudi, Chineke. I think Dibias is here. I think so. Here he is. Let me add him.
Okay. Okay, Martin.
Let's see.
I'll go through
let's see. I am so sorry. This morning has just been so hectic trying to get in here. So much going on, with the university and everything. He's frozen.
We can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Chidozie.
Okay, welcome.
I know, darling. Chukwu okike ojike ihe na-agaji ma ha chọrọ ma ha chọrọ ya agaji.
Yes.
Iwe wale ndị na-abụ ihe anyị mega ekpere sa anyị metụ ekpere anyị mkpekwa na ekpere gbasara program anyị n'ihu ka ọ ya aga ihe ọma ya ọ ya aga ụwa niile a na-enwe ebe ha n'ala Ukporo.
Yes.
Nna bụ ihe na-ekene unu.
Yeah, we just.
Yeah, guys, here.
Yes.
Take it away.
Yes. Yes. Well, welcome everyone. Day one. The tradition, I don't know. I keep saying it every time. Every time what we want to do is remind everyone to get the chalk. If you don't have the chalk, right, in your home, this is the time to do it. Okwanzu. So even though many of you don't have it, I'm going to open mine and extend the welcome, dipping my right middle finger and on my left wrist to indicate that I welcome you. I welcome all the good energy, all the ancestors. I welcome all the wonderful spirits, all thousands and thousands of ancestors that walk with us. I welcome all of them. I say to all of you who are here today, let it be nothing but goodness that will follow you. Today is important because I chose for us to speak on this particular issue. Nyocha, to seek, to find answers, to seek knowledge, not to base your understanding of the world just on what you are told, on what is put in a book and all of that. I'm a part of a group of individuals who are speaking about the importance of collective tolerance, about the diversity in religions. And what I found was the most vocal ones were the Christians, who felt that there was no alternatives, although there were other individuals there who were saying, oh, no, we should, who were Christians, who were saying that we should listen to other people's thoughts. But some of them felt that those who are not Christians are not chosen to go to heaven and thus have nothing to share, have nothing to say. And by the time the rapture happens, most of us know exactly where we're going. So I asked her, the woman who was very, very vocal, I asked, so where are we going? Where do you think the rest of us are going to go? And who chose you? Who selected you to go? There are billions of human beings on earth. And according to the Bible, only 144,000, unless I'm wrong, are supposed to make it. But there are billions. So how were you chosen? How were you chosen to go to heaven when the rest of us are not going to it? So if we can't get to heaven, where do we go? This woman was obviously not knowledgeable. She hasn't sought knowledge in any way. She hasn't sought knowledge. She doesn't want to know. She doesn't have any other means than the Holy Book said. The Holy Book didn't say. And of course, everybody went after her. And I told them, don't get mad at her. She's only reacting to what she knows. She has not investigated anything. She doesn't know anything. So you cannot get mad at her for sharing all that she knows. The world is falling apart around us. If you look at what's going on in Israel and the Gaza Strip, that is something that is not holy. There's nothing holy about what's going on there. But when people believe that certain individuals are selected to be the best human beings and the rest of us, you know, we're chipmunks trying to get nuts. The rest of us don't matter. So the killings that you see going on Gaza, a lot of people excuse it. When the conversation got to that, this woman excused it because these people are not Christian. The Palestinians are not Christian, so they don't deserve to live. For that matter, the Jews are not Christians either. They're Jewish. They believe in Judaism, but because they've been identified as the chosen people, some of these individuals feel it's okay for them to do all this killing that's going on, fabrications. As you know, I'm not for Palestinians. I'm not for Israelites. I am for truth. I am for honesty. I am for fairness. I am for equity. When we don't ask questions, when we don't investigate, we accept information. If you listen to the news recently, that's all you hear. There are some protestations everywhere, but the key thing that I look for is there a final agreement that everybody's right to live is a mandate? But I don't hear that. I still hear that the Jews are entitled to do all these things that are happening on the Gaza Strip. When we do not investigate the truth, we accept lies as truth, and that becomes a modus operandi. We use lies to engage others. We use lies in the way we live our lives. We use lies in the way that we relate to our world. But in African spirituality, in Igbo explanation of how life began, there is the notion that Chineke said to Adam and Ifenta that everything in this world is designed for your own good, but you have to figure out how you can use them for your own good. Over the years, we have found those things that we can use, those things we can't use. Many of them, all of them in nature, and consequently, we honor nature, because if we are going to use everything in this world for our good, we need to investigate how the use for them, their usefulness, and use them accordingly. Even human beings are useful to us. There's nowhere that Chineke said, go and kill another person because they offended you or because you're more special. There's no such thing in our spirituality. So I was trying to say to this woman that the problem is that you don't want to know the truth. The truth is not that you're wrong. The truth is that everybody's truth is okay, because people are who they are and what they believe based on what they've lived, their experiences within their communities, within their enclaves. For you to set out here and determine that nobody else is right but you, it's really what's causing the problem in the world today. So all of you out there today, seek the truth. If you know what's right, then that's what you do, not what people say, not what people convince you, not what you see on television. Find out the truth before you start hating. The world is hateful today because we are told to hate. The whole concept of Onyangala Wanneya in Igbo cosmogony. Onyangala Wanneya, don't leave anyone behind. Anyone. Nobody deserves to die. Nobody deserves to fail. And just you deserve all the blessings of the universe. I have to tell you, that was one, when I left, I don't drink, but when I left that forum, I had to taste something. I had to decompress because I've never seen such human hatred, such hatred for other human beings. Because a person does not want to hear the truth, doesn't want to investigate, doesn't want to ask questions. This is what the book said, and so it is. So based on that, you have determined who can live and who cannot live, who's right and who's not right, who has merit. You've decided what color looks like God. It is something. It was something to listen to. But anyway, Yudi, I'm going to invite you to have make your comments regarding what I just said to you today.
Well, for me personally, there are two kinds of truth. One is a personal truth, right? You seek for self-improvement, good or bad. Mm-hmm. And then you have what I call community or group truth, right? And that all goes along with, as a psychologist, you already know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And one of those needs is the need of belongingness. Right? And sometimes to satisfy this need for belongingness, to belong to a group that makes you feel good, or groups that are able to, encourage your prejudices, or the groups that you fit into that makes you feel like you belong somewhere and that you're worth something. The truth of that group, for the most part, is what people go by, right? I made a post about slavery and the rich white people that brought about the idea of racism, black or white, as a way of protecting themselves by using the poor white folks as a buffer between themselves and the slaves, or the Africans that were enslaved, because we were never slaves, we were enslaved, okay? Up until the 1600s, black and white didn't exist. There was nothing like black or white. As a matter of fact, Europeans killed one another because that's the way they were. They just murdered each other until they found somebody else to murder. Africans, colored people, Indians, or whoever. But up until then, Europeans weren't calling themselves white men. They only started that when they came into contact with brown people and Africans and black people, or what have you, people that don't look like them. And then when slavery started, and I'm talking about the slavery where the European was enslaving Africans, that's when the idea of black and white came about. Now, who is interested in that knowledge? Who is interested in that truth? Because those white people who obviously their way of living or the way they do business is groupthink, to abide by the prejudices of a group, have now internalized the idea that races exist. But the truth of the matter is, races only started to exist when the dominant, evil patrons of the slave trade were scared that the people that they enslaved have outnumbered them and needed the help of the lower tier white folks as a buffer between them and the slaves and the brown people. So they elevated the status of the poor white guy above the black person, and then tells them, those people are coming after what belongs to you. And that truth, which is a lie, is groupthink. It has nothing to do with what those people think of themselves individually or what they thought of black folks. Because before slavery, black people and white people in Europe, like people from the Ghanaian Empire and all that, and the black Moors, they were mixing and doing business. And nobody was talking about you're black or you're white. So for me, truth is one of those things, like in the movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. I don't think people really can handle truth. I really don't think so. I think people look at the world based on their prejudices, and they will mold the truth, twist it to fit what they think or how they feel about the other guy, as opposed to really taking the time, like you mentioned, to do some research, ask some pertinent questions based on the idea or the fact that they truly want to understand the other side, want to hear the other side, want to live in peace and harmony as spiritual people, as opposed to being partial to group think. Because I think that if people seek personal truth, the world would be a better place. Unfortunately, there's so many groups: Hamas, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus. Everybody's involved in this group thing, and nobody's really interested in personal salvation. Because if they learn the truth, they may start looking at the group that they belong to differently, with a lot of suspicion, thereby ending up being marginalized or living a lonely life outside of the group that originally validated their existence. So I think that most people live their life not by the real Nyocha, to seek knowledge, but by groupthink, to belong somewhere, satisfying the, I think it's the third rung or the fourth rung of Maslow's hierarchy of need, which is to belong somewhere. And because people live their life trying to belong, the truth becomes a fleeting notion. That's my view.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Dibias, your thoughts, please.
Oh, well, I think today's topic is something that is very interesting. Nyocha goes with Nyocha, investigation, inquiry, making findings, not just abiding by the peripheral truth, trying to look at things deeper than is presented, and evaluating things to ensure that both the contextual and the textual are investigated, and then you try to see the world yourself by making evaluations. But that depends on what background one is coming from, because Dibias had tabulated two kinds of truth: the private truth and the public truth, which technically refers to subjective truth and objective truth. Well, if you come within the traditions of monism, it will be difficult for someone to attain objective truth by investigating or allowing others to have their view, because the monist believes that only he or she has the truth, and what they have is eternal truth, unyielding to change. It doesn't change, because it's the same God tomorrow, the same God today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And they think that they have the notion of God, they understand God, other people don't know God. And they believe everything that is written in the scripture is sacrosanct, is what God has revealed. They do not know that they are the one viewing God. God is not the one revealing itself. They are the one viewing God. So monists have that problem. All monist traditions have that problem, whether it is within religion or in the secular world. Marxism and Marxists behave the same way. They chant slogans, sloganeering. So most people who don't go beyond dogma and slogans are very narrow-minded, and all they do is that they sing like megaphones. And like I tell my students, if you regurgitate exactly what I have taught you back to me, then you have learned nothing, especially if you are writing philosophy, because the essence of philosophy is to make you develop your own thought and look at the world and every other thing you have thought from your own perspective, have your own stamp on it. And so most monists don't have their own stamp on what they believe. They just go by the nomenclature. For those who are dualists, who believe in a dual world, they grant that, okay, you can have your own view, but those who are coming from the tradition where the cosmogony is that two opposites are independent and each one is independent and equal to the other. They have a problem of how two things that are equal and opposite can relate, because if they are equal and opposite, then the only way they can relate is either by way of domination or elimination. So those with this kind of problem, their dualism collapses back into monism. You find that with Christianity, you find that with Islam, you find that with secular orientations that are monistic, or that look at the issue of relationship between two opposites as the opposite being equal. And when they are equal, there's a problem. So, but our own ancestors resolved that problem by saying, here there are two primary things. Our things are always two. Obinabo, Akonabo, Orinabo, Odinabo, and so on and so forth. Ejitenabo, Ululunabo. It was always two. And the two represent male and female. And of the male and female, one must be active, the other must be passive. It's deliberate. Being passive and active is not dependent on gender, because in some homes, the woman is the active one, the man is the one that is coordinating things. You see the woman active, she wakes up in the morning, and the man who understands her, the regulator say, don't do it, don't stress yourself. Regulator, she listens. So the man is relaxed while the woman is active. In some other families, the man that is boisterous and the woman has wisdom. So the passive one is actually the one regulating the relationship, is the one that has the patience. And because of patience, he has wisdom, a lot of wisdom with it. So that goes a long way. Now, so we say that there are two things, but these two things are not equal. They are incomplete. Both of them are incomplete because the one is active, one is passive. The one that is active is lacking something. The one that is passive is lacking something. So the active and the passive have to come together. So and that's why they must be interdependent. They don't have a choice but to be interdependent. That's how our ancestors resolved that problem. Now, that which our ancestors did from time immemorial, Western philosophy is just attaining that. It's just attaining that in a theory of subjectivity in phenomenology. And they had to argue it until Heidegger took issue of subjectivity beyond the scientific realm, and then took it to interpersonal relationship, and the postmodernists now developed it further. But that has always been the premise on which our ancestors always taught, that two things, the opposites are not complete. Each one is incomplete. Because they are incomplete, they must interrelate. One must be passive, one must be active. If you look at the sun has two basic elements. One is active, I think leptons and quarks. One of I think either leptons or quark is active, and the other one is passive. While the active one expands, it explodes. The passive one contracts. That's how the sun maintains its regulation. That's how it is regulated. Without that, there will be no moderation in the sun. It will have burnt out or it will remain inactive. So our ancestors understood that from the beginning. And that is why they talked about the principle of Ofonogu. It's built on regulation, moderation. And because of this way, they now saw that Amamuye Buoko here, Onya Namachaya, Ebi Madebere Kimade, Onya Marankai Mankoza, Ebi Madebere Kimadebe. So there is no end to knowledge, because knowledge is vastless forest. And then they also say, if we have to look at what is truth from individualistic and group, that's inter-individual and intergroup discourse. And that's how our own duality or complementary dualism led to pluralism. Which is why we say, we grant the right for other people to see the truth their own way. And that is why we are unimposing when it comes to religion. Because I think there's one novel of Achebe I read, when something people went to another people for them to worship Ogugu with them. They say, no, you cannot worship our God with us. You have to see God your own way. So we can't give you Ogugu, but we can give you more Ogugu. Because you have to see God your own way, not our own way. So because of our orientation, we always knew that every individual has the right to see the world its own way, but within the regulated means of a Ofonogu. And other people, ditto other people, they have the right to see the world the way they want to see the world. That is why we must keep preaching our orientation, because it is the solution to the world order. Crisis and strife will not stop, but it will stop these imminent hate, whereby people they keep deaf ears and they don't want to listen to the other. People will imbibe the etiquette of discourse, and once there's etiquette of discourse, knowledge can be changed, can be interchanged. That's my little take in that.
Man, Dibia, this is your summation is always on point. You know, gives me the when you're talking. I really appreciate your contribution to this program. You know, it really has a perspective that it's just so deep, you know, that for somebody who's a traditionalist like me, I can't help but just appreciate, you know, how you really get into these facts. Yeah, you know, like you mentioned, human existence is about duality. Okay, and duality is usually singular or plural, or they are opposites, and these are absolutes. For example, like you mentioned earlier, these opposites complement one another. What do I mean by that? To take your point even further, you can't be tall and short at the same time. It takes a tall person to know who is short. It takes a short person to know who is tall. The truth is, as opposed to the tall person feeling that he's superior to the short person, the truth is he should acknowledge the fact that it is a short person that is making him look tall.
Sure.
And has to appreciate that. So because you got opposites or plurality, doesn't make your point of view superior.
No.
Our interaction is complementary. It takes a blind person for you to know that you can see. And it takes somebody who can see for you to know that you're blind. As a matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. A man or a person born blind does not envy the person who can see, because his senses have already been built to accommodate his or her shortcomings.
True.
Because you may not see, but you're hearing. Your sense of hearing, your sense of self. You can interact even better in your environment than the person who can see and then went blind. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It is true that nobody says that their mom's cooking is not good.
True.
The truth is, when you do research, is as opposed to just accepting that based on the emotional content of that statement. If you investigate that, you'll find out that some mothers don't know how to cook.
Bob,
That's what I'm saying. But if you follow that group think, if you follow that assertion that nobody says that their mom's cooking is not good, you miss the bigger picture. You do less research because you've just accepted it as a way, as a gesture that you love your mother and that nothing your mother can do is wrong. Your mom is all loving. But the truth, when you do research, is not all mothers are loving. Not all mothers want their children.
That's true.
Not all fathers want their children.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm using that example because it hits each one of us individually, intimately. That is an absolute truth. When you talk about your mom or your father, that is a subject matter that you can, how you say, appreciate more than anything else that is spoken to you about. Now, when you move from that way of thinking, and then you go into the group think, the racist white person believes that the black man is a danger to them. The black man wants your woman. The black man wants your property. The black man wants everything that makes you feel that you have an edge over him. He wants that. But when you do research, you find out that the black man and woman don't care about what you got. They just want an opportunity to get what you got. to be treated fairly.
That's all.
That's all, as a human being. But the groupthink, that general assertion that the rich white person came up with to use you as a buffer between him and the African or the black person that is being denied those opportunities, you start to think that you're better than that guy, that black person, that you are acting as a buffer between the rich person and the black person. You begin to think that you're more superior. And you forget the fact that the rich white person is using you as a buffer to keep the black person down over there so that he could toil the land, pick the cotton for little or nothing. And the only payment he gets is the idea that he's alive. Regardless of how meager his existence is, the payment that he's receiving for you is that he's alive, while you subject him or her to all manner of human indecency and maltreatment. So that's why I always harp on individual truth and the groupthink. Individual truth belongs to people that seek the truth, that want to know, that do research, that believe that knowledge is key to life. Eziokubondo. That's what we say in Igbo land. Truth is life. If you know the truth and you seek the truth, nobody can ever fool you. Because before you accept anything, you've already done research. You develop what we call in Chiism Nkomi. Deep thinking. You become a deep thinker. You don't take things at face value. Just because the group says that this is the way it is, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way it is. Because as I mentioned earlier, it takes a short person for you to know that you're tall. But if you think deeply, you will find out that the short person is actually doing you a favor. He's your measuring stick. So as opposed to looking down on the short person, you need to appreciate his or her shortness. Or the dumb person and the small person, the blind person and the person who can see, the deaf person and the person who can hear. Opposites are divine. They don't exist just for the heck of it. They exist divinely because Chineke created these differences as a measuring tool, as a bar, as you journey through life. Individual truth is more important than communal, quote unquote, truth that sometimes have an ulterior motive just so that they can bring a people together to fight something else, to fight someone else. You become a tool. You go to war and you fight for the group and you treat other people so bad, so inhuman, and you claim that God is on your side. You develop this enemy who is the devil, who God is not on their side, God is on your side. You now become the judge and the jury. You go out here, you bastardize your fellow human beings, you put people to the sword, and you justify it with your holy book that tells you that you're God's chosen people. Really? What am I? Chopped liver? How come you're chosen by God and I'm not chosen by God, even though my history on earth is older than yours? Even though my history tells me that we believed in the Almighty Chineke before you became whatever you became. All life started in Central Africa. Oldest woman, Lucy, 5 million to 7 million years old. Let's not even start talking about how we now evolved from apes to the Neanderthals, to the human beings that you see today, and what we're going to look like 5 million years from now if humanity continues to exist. I know we're not going to be looking like this. We might be looking like what you see in the comic book. My head might be the head of a lion, but I have the hands of a human being, and I'm in this military-looking gear with this lion or head of a panther. I might have evolved into something totally different. Individual truth requires research. It is individual truth that will set you free. Seek and you shall find. But before you seek the truth, please be sure that you're ready to handle the truth, because it may go against everything that you've ever been taught in your life. And that is why people resist the truth. Sometimes you see the truth, it's all up in your face, but you turn your back against the truth because you don't want to look in the mirror and say to yourself, I have been bamboozled all my life. Seeking the truth is a spiritual journey. To seek the truth is to be free of all prejudices, of all misinformation. You want to live again. You want to be reborn. To seek the truth is to be reborn, but you have to be ready for it. If you're not ready for the truth, you are going to continue through life, wandering through life in this sea of group think, because it's more important to you to satisfy the group, to belong somewhere, as opposed to being a spiritual person. That's how I feel about it.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, what I miss about sitting with my elders and listening to them is the wisdom that they share. It doesn't come from any book. As a matter of fact, it's their wisdom that Nkomi has compiled. Wisdom that's based on experiences, real, pragmatic experiences. Some of them based on what their interpretation of life is, but with universal application. I enjoy listening to my father, to Ahai, talk about things that are just not written in any books. But it's reality. It's based on what he has experienced. You know, we have spiritually, if you really listen to African spiritual songs, you will discover the real African spirituality. Omemma lotakwa, omenjo lotakwa, onyori nezu, ama baruso ya nazo. Those who do good, remember. Those who do bad things, remember. As you steal, truth shall follow you. Whatever it is you're covering, whatever it is you're hiding, truth shall follow you. Lies and thievery, if I may use that expression, are cousins. And they don't get along with truth. Because you see, what we see in this world are these so-called first world countries going into so-called third world countries and taking from them. And as they take from them, they cover it with lies. They use psychology to make the people believe that the lies are real. And once the people believe that the lies are real, they don't care anymore to investigate, to find out. Nyocha dies with them. They don't want to know. This is the truth as they know it. That's how comes thieves and lies go together. If you catch a thief say, me, no be me, waiting, Otio, it's that other person that did it, not me. The thief will never tell you the truth. Even when you catch him in the act, he say, isn't this my house? I thought this was my number. I beg you, I'm sorry. The thief will never tell you the truth. But his cousin, the lies, he goes and steals, his cousin lies, comes and covers it up. But then hiding in the corner is the truth. The truth tiptoes behind them because over time, the truth shall come to be, it will come to surface. This is what many of these religions are experiencing. They came in, they stole not just the riches, the wealth of the people. They stole the minds of the people. But you see, truth, it's taken many, many years for truth to be exposed, for truth to expose everything that has happened. That's why they get so angry when you have the audacity to say what you're saying is a lie. That's why they get angry. But as long as we are sleeping and refusing to ask questions, we're not asking you to ask questions based on what we know. No, we say ask questions so that you would understand.
Seek and you shall find.
So you will know the truth yourself. You shall find. People say iberibe. When you don't know anything, they say you're an iberibe. An iberibe person is somebody who knows nothing, doesn't want to know. It's too much work. For a lot of people, it's too much work. Truth is an important part of human life. It can save you from a lot of trouble. It can save you from manipulation. Truth is the source for trust, integrity, and credibility.
Yeah.
Meaning Nyocha, meaning whatever you're told, you believe.
That's where most of us are, black people.
And that's reality. You will always be at the losing end.
Yeah.
The problem, my brothers, is that we have gotten so used to being called liars, being called inconsequential. We have started to believe it, so that those of us who want to talk the truth, want to present the truth, even for your consideration, you get mad. Somebody told me that what I say is irritating to him. It's annoying to him. So I asked, why is it annoying to you? Because you're not making sense, he says. Why am I not making sense? Well, the Bible said. I said, there you have it. That's your only truth. Who wrote it? I'm annoying to you because I'm challenging you to think about what you're saying. I'm not annoying you. I'm just pulling at your integrity and you don't want to be pulled. I'm challenging your humanity, but you don't want to be challenged. That's why African people are irritating to them. That's why your spirituality, they don't want to hear it because it's full of truth. If I say Manachiso, if I say I walk with, what is wrong with that? What lie have I told there? My source of inspiration is Chineke. So that inspiration gives me power, gives me the sense of a capacity to do. And when I say I'm walking with Chineke, that means I've got power, heavy ammunition on my side. That's all I'm saying. But you get mad about that. You don't want to hear that because somebody already died for me. And the person who died for me is the person with the power. I'm not. I don't have any power to do anything. It's blasphemous for me to even ascribe power to me. See, power is not about how much ammunition you can use on your fellow human being. Power is not the ability to drop bombs on people who are helpless, who can't do anything. That's not power. That's weakness. You want to get in the ring and fight? Come with your mind. Come with the truth. That's where these so-called powerful people, that's where they get irritated with you. Because when you take away all those bombs, all those shellings, all those technical know-how, they ain't got nothing. They have nothing. They can challenge a 5-year-old child who can tell you the truth in a heartbeat. The importance of telling the truth, regardless of anything, is that it is very important for your own survival even.
Yeah.
Lies may get you killed. Lies may direct you in the wrong place and you may become a victim. Your credibility is shattered when people know you're lying. They may not say it to you because you so-called have the power. But sooner or later, the truth shall come and follow you and expose you. And that's why the rest of these words, they don't want to hear about us. You don't want to hear about they call it New Age. That's what they call it, New Age spirituality. They don't want to hear all of that. Give me that old-time religion because, that's the kind of religion where you don't ask questions. You just, you just take it as it is, you know. Don't ask questions, just believe. That's how you will find God, is to believe. Who am I believing? Whose report are you believing? Whose report should you believe? Do you have eyes? Can you see? Do you have ears? Can you hear? Can you be the investigator? Can you write your own story? Can you be the source of good in the world by being honest, by being trustworthy, by having integrity, by being credible? My perception of reality, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll pass this to Chiedozie. My perception of reality when I was young was based on what I was told. And that's what you do when you're young. When you're a kid, people tell you what you need to do. And that's perfectly okay, because you don't know. Your experience is very limited. You don't know what to, what else are you going to, what are you going to teach anybody? So you listen. But as you get older, you're supposed to now change your mode of listening. You're now listening to know, not just listening to act. You don't listen just so you act on behalf of somebody else. Now you're listening to learn and then discover, should I act according to what I've heard? And what are the consequences? Now you act with consequences in mind. Gini game, if I do this, or gini game, what will happen if I do this? That's what maturity is about. You don't just act because somebody said. You act, okay, I've got the information. Now what do I do with it? Do I use it or do I not use it? What are the consequences, not just for me, but for humanity, for other people, if I follow this dictate? If I follow these ways that have been ascribed for me. That's what being an adult is. An adult is not somebody who just follows. An adult is somebody who listens, follows to some degree, but then pause when they have to think that perhaps this is not what to do. Dibias, over to you.
Yeah, I start where you ended, the issue of reality. Reality is just a way of naming something. It's a process of naming. Because in Dibias, like I used to say, if we told our children that cat is moo, that's what it is. And until the child grows up and says, but why should this thing be called moo when it does mew? Why not call it mew? The animal that does moo is cow. So why not call cow moo and call cat moo? But reality is, in Dibias, say, ana ma we si hu otu nwata si apụta ụwa abịa ụwa akpọ ya aha si ya mee ka mmadụ ya pụta ka ibe ya si apụta eme certain things ya pụta. So in Dibia, reality is what we call a thing, and what does not have a name, a strange thing does not have a name, they give it a name, and that Bertrand Russell calls it undenoted. You denote it. That's reality. But that which you call reality must have levels of truth. It must be rational, in the sense that every human being that looks at it will say, yes, it resonates. If you say this is OCC and you say that's a tree, then you must describe the characteristics, must give reasons why you call it OCC. Then it must correspond with the characteristics of OCC in other people's language or other people's languages. So that when you say these are the characteristics of OCC, when we take the characteristics of OCC, we discover it is OCC all over the world. The language is what is different, all right? So, but the problem comes in when I say your own Iggy or tree is not Iggy. Take my own OCC. I am the one that has the final authority to what you name things to be. That's where the problem comes in, which is imperialism. Stagnating other people's growth so that you can grow. And that goes with a world where people think that I am the only star that will shine in the dark sky of the night. All right, so because the sky is no longer sky when it's only one star that is shining. The sky is sky because there are billions of stars twinkling. According to their closeness, in accordance to their closeness to Earth, we see their twinkling brighter, and the farther they are from Earth, we see their twinkling fainter. So that's where the problem lies. And that is why we must reconstitute our culture and tell our children the world and reality from our own perspective, so that they will have readily made answers. Because as it is for now, we are endangered species.
Yeah.
The black folk generally, we are endangered species, in the sense that we are even antagonizing ourselves within. Exactly what you have described and what Nyocha has said is what is happening here in Nigeria. You see that group think and group gang. Group think looks to group ganging, ganging against certain people. No, if you leave them, they will dominate everywhere. Not because they deliberately want to do so, but it's in their nature to rise beyond others wherever you find them. So please curtail them. Don't let them get to certain level. Don't let them even have their own independence, because if they have their own independence, they will just dwarf all of us. They make all of us look like dwarf. I used to have that problem as a student. They say, when you are writing, write like this, don't write like this. When you finish writing, you're writing as an undergraduate, as a master student, it's like you're writing PhD. Professor has written, and others, and we look dwarf. And I say, so I should refuse to manifest what I am. I should manifest what you are, and to be me. I'm only going to manifest what I am, because what I am is what my father has taught me to be. And I asked them, when my father was educating me, because I stayed and lived with him, and because of his nature, when I'm not using my head, he will knock it and say, let your brain flow. If you leave your brain not to flow, it will smell. If you want it to flow like a gentle stream, it will flow. The way you train your mind is the way it works. And he not only told me to train my mind, he said, train your body. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing, take plenty of water. Before you leave your home, if you know you are going to leave 7, wake up at 4. Take plenty of water, so that by before 7, you will have finished. You go to toilet, you ease that water, you empty your bowl, and if you make that a routine, your body will condition to it, so that not when you are going on the road, and then you ask the driver to stop. Some people have died in the process. They just go to the bush and they want to empty their bowl, and the python eat them up. It's like they say it's fate. It's not fate. It's lack of discipline. So that's the way I have been brought up, and that is the way we must struggle, not only to bring up our children, because children is within the immediate nuclear family and the extended family, and for us the word is extended and extendable. Family is extended, and so the notion of extended family has been destroyed by the imposing imperial culture and the monistic culture that wants to reduce everybody to nothing and deliberately promote evil. Like now we heard our president, I don't know how true it is, I have not read it, has signed a bill legalizing same-sex marriage just to get loan from France. That which a small country we should call small, Uganda has rejected. The so-called giant of Africa has accepted. So who is not the giant of Africa, and who is the Lilliputian and the dwarf of Africa? I think the way we are going in this country, we are showing that we lack leadership, because the country is great to the extent of its leadership. We are putting the worst of our kind into leadership, and they are really messing up us thoroughly. So to round up, this issue of people not wanting to promoting evil deliberately is because one essential key factor in Igbo morality, Igbo ethics, is missing. In here, shame. One who has self-dignity must have shame. If you don't have shame, then you will justify evil. And that is what is happening now. Now, in Nigeria, today, if you are living within Nigeria, you'll be suffocated. In fact, if you don't have a robust mind, you'll be suffocated. I know how many times my wife has told me I am suffocating in this environment. And I understand what she's saying, because lies are being justified for the past 10, now going to 9 years. Lies are being justified. The governments from 2015 deliberately tell lies. It is worse now. Imagine the government that came in 2015 voted, was it 11 billion naira for agriculture, 11 billion naira for education, 38 billion naira for information. That is pure propaganda. So a government that tries for propaganda on demagoguery lacks shame. You see blatant justification of falsehood, not just lies, falsehood, total falsehood being justified. Lies are told, falsehood is retold and told and retold before the people's eye. And before long, you see the people buying into it. So in Nigeria today, people thrive on the wrongdoing. If you want to toe the path of moderation, you are the fool. If you are telling the truth, you are the fool. You are not smart enough. And I told them, I keep telling them, I said, what builds a nation is value system, not money. Money does not build a nation. It's value system. And I told them the future is bleak for us. I don't see any future. I don't see any future. They keep telling, I said the future. I said, I don't see any future. The future is bleak for us. You may be, I said, even including those of you who think you are enjoying, your own future is bleaker than mine, because I can see that future. But you think you are enjoying by suppressing other people. And that's exactly what has happened here. The British system, divide and rule, pitch them against themselves. And then, like us, we say, so that's what, divide and rule, you keep them busy by distracting them from the real truth. So when you distract them from it, you will not have your way. That's exactly what is happening now. No more shame. And because there's no shame, people justify naked falsehood, naked evil. And that's become our reality. That's why our ancestors warned that we should never allow that which is lie, falsehood, what is considered abomination or taboo. Don't let it fester for even 1 second. Makaru ba'afo or menala. And they warned you should never allow people of abnormal character to exist. If you allow, don't even exorcise them from the society. Don't expel them from the society, because they have formed a colony and they will invade the society of the normal people. And if you allow that, a time shall come when we will not be able to distinguish between normality and abnormality. That is the crossroad that we are in the world of today. Abnormality is being justified. Yeah, abnormality is being justified as normality. And that is what the European government, championed by America, is propagating all over the world. Deliberate evil. And so we must find, and the only way to fight against this is group existence. A group must know how to find the truth. Nyocha. We must know how to find the truth, how to keep the truth floating, and how to argue out the truth. And the only way to do that is to have a group that have a robust mind, like we are doing now, a robust mind. That's the only way to fight falsehood, a robust mind. And that's the only way you will remain without being suffocated, without being swallowed up by the falsehood of the sea of falsehood that is floating in the world today. Ndewo.
I just wanted to add something real quick, and I'm glad you brought it up, because one of Alain's, in one of Alain's lectures, my father, Dibias, you will testify to this. He said that in terms of this groupthink thing we were talking about, he said that a people without a cultural religion don't exist. When the interest of the Arab is at stake, they rally around Islam. When the interest of the Japanese is at stake, they rally around Sikhism. Shintoism. the Indians rallied around, for the most part, around Hindu. Even though they were subjected for 700 years by foreign invaders, Muslims and all. But somehow, Hinduism with Sikhism rose to the top. But 80% of Indians are Hindus. If you go to China, it's Buddhism, it's Confucianism, it's Taoism. You go to all these indigenous places that maintained their cultural religion, it is difficult for the West to come in and propagate their nonsense. But Africa, if you're a Muslim, you're a Christian. If you ain't Christian, now in Igbo land, you're a Jew. And if you ain't a Jew, you're maybe Chinese. But you're going to be something other than what you really are, which is the truth. So there are certain truths and realities that we have to face as a group. And that group is held together by a spirituality or primordial core that is difficult to penetrate. A lot of African countries in the East, as far as groupthink is concerned, have said to the United States or the West, that stuff you're doing over there, you can bring it over here because it's not our way of life. It's not part of who we are. This is our cultural tradition, the way we have been for thousands of years. If we lose this, we are lost. And I can tell you, if we lose that in Nigeria, where we've already lost just about everything with the religion thing has decimated African culture. If this stuff here now becomes part of the norm of existence in Nigeria, forget it. It's over. There has to be group resistance to this abomination that they want to normalize.
Well, you see, I'm not taking that words away from you, but that's the danger of allowing those who lack scruples to be the head.
Absolutely. I agree with
That's
you.
the major, this thing, Jonathan rejected it. In fact, from what I heard from some people who are close to Jonathan, I think that was it a Commonwealth meeting or one of the meetings. Then I think something, David Cameron was Prime Minister of Britain. They were talking about this gay thing. And Jonathan was in their midst. They said, no, they said, Joe will do it for us. He said, I said, pass a law in through the legislature, and it will become a law, and then they will give him backing. Jonathan did not utter a word. He only stood up and walked away. Then when he returned to Nigeria for an answer, he legislated against it. And so that was when they brought up this scheme of Chibok girls, and the military was part of it. Jonathan must go down because he refused, he not only refused it, he signed a law against it. Buhari came, the man we say has no Person 6 certificate. They did everything for him to legalize it, he didn't touch it. Now, the current man there, we kept saying that he cannot be because he lacks all the scruples. Yes, Buhari has no certificate, but he is a Fulani man, and a Fulani man has a culture. He will not go against his culture.
The cultural tradition of the people is what elevates you above this imperialism stuff. Once you lose it, you look at places like Japan, look at places like China, look at places like India. That China was colonized by the British, even though they didn't have the kind of level of colonization and slavery that affected black people and all that. But they simply told the British, if you touch our long hair, you know that hair where they tie for back hair?
Yeah.
If you touch it, get ready to kill every Chinese person because we're not going to cut that hair. We're not going to cut it. The Shogun of Japan destroyed over 20,000 churches in the 16th century in Japan and beheaded every preacher that was there as a lesson to his people to reject foreign religion because it was a threat to Japan. India went through 700 of subjugation, invasion. Hinduism stood. We've lost in Nigeria, in Africa, in a lot of places, particularly in Nigeria. And I say Nigeria because we're supposed to be the lion of Africa, the blah, blah of Africa. We have turned up to be the gnat of Africa. Nigeria is the most pitiful country I've ever seen, based on our intellect in terms of academics, based on the multitude of cultures that exist within our borders. You know, in the United States over here, and people might look at it and say, well, I'm simplifying it. Yeah, I'm simplifying it because it's simplistic to me. This country here, you got every human community in the world exists here in America. There's racism here, but somehow it still works as a society that is functional. In Nigeria, our diversity has become a curse as opposed to strength. America's strength is its diversity. Listen, when you go to the army, even during the 30s and 40s, even during World War II, even during the Civil War, Black people fought for this country. It was their bravery that guaranteed the victory in all these different battles and wars. Chinese people fought here. Japanese people fought here. Arabs fought here. Mexicans fought in the American army. Everybody fought here. But in Nigeria, as opposed to that being our strength, it has become a detriment to our upward mobility in all areas of human endeavor. And that's the truth, since we're on the topic of telling the truth. If you say we don't want it anymore, let's be Igbo, you become Igbo. Let's be Yoruba, you become Yoruba. Let's be Hausa. The moment you become Igbo, you become Biafra, you become whatever it is you want to become, then we're going to start talking about tribalism within Igbo land. Who's from Ohofia? Who's from Enugu? Who's from Onitsha? We lose the bigger picture. We forget that the diversity of being from Anambra, Enugu, all that is a strength that needs to be harnessed, unified into a powerful entity so that we can strike a mighty blow. You know, when your hands is open, it's a slap.
Sure.
All this diversity, when you put it together, you can strike a mighty blow. Maya Angelou said that. Nigeria is the most pitiful country in the world. I've yet to see a country as sickening to look at, to me, as Nigeria, because of all the power, all the intellectual fortitude that we're supposed to have, the economy, everything that should make up one of the most powerful countries in the world is turning out into the most pitiful country in the world with the type of leadership that is doing nothing but dragging you into the deep end to drown without a life jacket. Everything that is detrimental to our mobility, we embrace. We embrace foreign religion. If you're in Islam, it's Christianity, it's Judaism, it's whatever. As long as it's not African, we spit on ourselves, we embrace and validate ourselves by standards that are not of our own choosing. And this thing about legalizing homosexual marriages and all that, it's not part of our way of living. This is Western stuff. They tell us we run around naked in Africa. We swim from tree to tree. But if you go to Europe, they have a national day of nudity. People are walking in the streets of London without clothes. They tell you that eating chicken is a black thing, but why people eat chicken too? Why is it when an African does something, it's looked upon as terrible? When they do it, it's looked upon as civilized behavior. I mean, you are here standing with your children in the street, lining the road, and people are just marching, thousands of them, naked in the street. And I'm supposed to accept that behavior when I go to Africa so that I can have my own nudism parade in the street in Africa because I want to validate myself by Western values. anything that is so detrimental to Africa has been accepted by Nigerian leadership as a way to do business, as a way to get money from foreign entities. Why do you need money from foreign entities? Does the United States borrow money from the World Bank?
Well, I think
put together.
I think the reason for that, like I warned, they said the man that is there now is an economic expert, and I said I have lived in Lagos for as long as this man was governor. I didn't see any economic wizardry that he pulled. What he's good at is multiple taxation. And as an accountant, one with a background of accountant, they don't know about making money. What they know is about taxing. And taxing people is not economy. Economy is about exploring people's talent and developing these talents that are non-material things to yield goods and services. That's what you call development. That is what you call economy. So economy, building the wealth of the nation, is the people, the talents of the people.
Absolutely.
Because the essence why we came together as society is because no one individual is self-sufficing. I have a different talent from you, you have a different talent from Dibia, and so on and so forth. And so no matter how multi-talented one is, it's still one talent. There are other people with different talents. So when we all come together, we bring our talents together, and then we now categorize these talents into what they call division of labor. So certain group of people are producing one set of goods and services, and so on and so forth. And with that, we coordinate that, and we now have society. And so that's what development is. That is what you call entrepreneurship. But taxing people is for taxation to come is because you have people who are sound, body and mind, who are producing. But when you keep taxing even the granite seller, who makes 500 naira per day, you will tax 15 naira out of it. Instead of helping them to grow their business, you are taxing them out of business. That's what I saw in Lagos. I was a victim of it, because I told my wife when we wanted to rent a shop, I said, this money is enough for us. You have a car of your own. All you need to do is print a card and then develop a business. When you develop a business, or pick on a particular goods you know that sells, you can keep alternating them. Then make your business card. When you go to drop the children, or I go to drop the children, I distribute a card. When you do that before 1 or 2, 3 months, you are known for that. People will call you from their home to supply. You will not be able to cope after some time. You have to now call on expert rider, those dispatch people who help you to dispatch. Then you build your business. If you go and rent a shop, you will not break even. As you say, okay, I told her, I am telling you the reality on ground, because people were leaving Lagos to go to Ogun State and neighboring places to build their houses, to run away from Lagos for multiple taxation. Then when she rented the shop, she had just rented the shop, washed it on a Friday weekend, by Friday, Saturday. By Monday we got there, we met 4 different bills from Lagos State government. The extension in the front of the shop was to be paid for. Television in the shop was to be paid for. I paid to this association, paid to that association. NEPA bill, those ones brought another decision. We said, okay, let's go for our own meter. That was worse. Everything is business. Business means extorting people illegally. And I told people, if this guy comes in, he'll be worse than Buhari. He'll be worse because he's a master tax master. That's what he is. And as a tax master, because he will need legitimacy. Anything goes. The West will keep him there.
And what did they do with the money?
Oh, the money he will keep settling. That's why the West wants somebody like that, because they will keep manipulating him to do the wrong thing, to run down the society. So now the people that are enjoying for now, the judges and lawyers who are close to him, the military leaders, and those ministers. So more money is required to settle them. And if for instance, they increase salary of the teachers, it will cause inflation. But it will not cause inflation when the salary of a minister is 100 billion naira per month. When he as president, as an ex-governor of Lagos State, is earning 100 million naira per month, he's still being paid that salary and he's still earning his salary as his president. It will not cause inflation. So the matter on ground is one of no value, no structure. And this problem started from when the military took over. The greatest mistake Hiroshi made was to abolish the regions and bring in unitary system. That destroyed us. Because if you look at United States as diverse as it is, it's governable because each state has a semi-autonomy. For entities to relate, entities must have their semi-autonomy. That is the way the universe is structured. Every atom is a building block, a unit. The amount of energy it contributes to the universe, sustenance of the universe, is the amount of energy it gains back. Same thing for every atom and cell of in our body. The cells are the building blocks of our body. Every cell is semi-autonomous. By introducing the unitary system, the units that should make Nigeria great was dismantled. Then over-centralization came in. All the monies have to be assembled in one purse. And once the money is assembled in one purse, the leaders are now made overpowerful. The Nigerian president is the most powerful president, the richest president on earth, because all monies have to be gathered before every state will now go to share. States now bring in tricks on how to share more than other states. So what you find is that states that produce nothing share more than states that produce, from which the money can come from. You can never grow an economy like that. Okonjo-Iweala said Jonathan tried to restructure it. What they did was to throw him out. And those who threw Jonathan out are those in charge today, from 2015. That was why Jonathan won. That you will, after I have left, you will get to notice, but too late, that after me, you will never have a president like me anymore. He told Nigerians, it is time for us to move forward with him or go back to those who will take us back to Oldavia George. I think if Oldavia George will not be better than us. That is what is happening now. So for Nigeria to move forward, we must devolve Nigeria back to regions.
Yeah.
Back to regions
with their own economy.
And that is why I keep saying, if we really want to do things, like if you go to if you go to Europe, every country in Europe is an ethnic group. From the collapse of Roman Empire, each ethnic group fought for their survival. Italian unification, Prussian unification that later became Germany, the Russian Federation. Then in England, the ethnic groups were fighting among themselves, and when they saw that none could do the other, they had to introduce a system whereby the countries that make up Britain have their semi-autonomy. They have their own currency. They have their own economy. Though England has a way of manipulating things, but Scotland has its own parliament. Wales has its own parliament. Northern Ireland has its own parliament. Then the general parliament is in England. But they have their semi-autonomy. In Switzerland, they run the collegiate system, 6 ethnic groups. Each one has its own president. Presidency of the general Switzerland is rotational. I think 1 term or 3 times. There's a program, you just run the program of the state. So the Italians, the French, the Germans, all of the ethnic groups that make up, each runs its own affair. You go to Canada, you'll find that the French side of Canada run their affairs. The English side run their affairs. Presidency is rotational. Why don't we do that in Africa? So, because what is causing this problem is, by the time you say all the ethnic groups come together, instead of recognizing the ethnic groups, you are causing division among them. Once you create a state out of Imo State will now say there's Abia State. All those who are from Abia, go back over to Imo State. You are divide and rule. Balkanization is continuing. What I call internal balkanization. So the way to go about it is to create us back to region. But the best thing for me is create us by ethnicity and let each ethnic group run its own affairs. When you get to Igbo, for instance, let the people from Nkporo handle their affair. Let the people from Abriba handle their own affair. Control the economy and pay tax to the province. The province will control their own. The people from Okigwe will control their own affairs. Isukwato. The people from Anambra will control their affairs. Each one will control. That is the way our ancestors built their own society. Families make up clan. Clans make up a village. Village make up town. So if you go to a typical Igbo setting, you see all this like that, functioning unit by unit. And each one has a semi-autonomy. When they are to discuss, the elders from each clan, elders from each family, will assemble at the clan level. When they finish, they will assemble at the village level by delegates. That's how they keep representing. And if you look at each delegate is represented, there is no clan that is not represented. By that say, before the person that is representing the clan or the village, before the meeting at the central level, meetings have been held at family level. Meetings have been held at clan level. Meetings have been held at village level. And so the person going to represent us there is going with our own view. And if he fails there, he is returning back to his kinsmen. He knows what is awaiting him. The problem in Nigeria today is that I go to the federal power to collect power like Hope Uzodinma to oppress my people. What happened in colonial time, whereby the central government is there to oppress the people. That is what is still happening now. So Abuja represents anti-people government, whereby even the people's choice is not given to them. And when the central puts the person of their own choice to govern over their people, if they refuse, they will carry military and suppress the people. This is exactly what happened in the colonial time, and it's repeating itself now. So when I look at Nigeria, I see us collapsing further. I don't see us moving because the structures are not there for us to move.
Yeah, it's a pity. It really is. I don't know. I think the more we discuss this, the frustration of the whole situation just kind of gets to me, and I find it difficult to even function mentally. You know, we all had this great hope when we came here, and right now I don't even know what to say. Okay, Dibia, over to you. I beg.
Yeah, I he said, I don't know what to say.
My spirit just died.
That is the reality. That's the reality. You know, I just wanted to add, there's you know, sometimes when we sit together, we don't tell the truth, but we start telling the truth when we're on our way home. We start telling whoever is walking home with us, you know, this is the truth, but we don't have the courage to speak the truth when we're in the committee of other individuals. The world is on fire today. Nigeria, as you're saying also, is on fire because the people continue to listen to the lies. So you have to ask yourself, who's teaching them to listen to the lies? Who's teaching them? This powerful tool in the world today is religion. Nothing else is as powerful. Not the politicians, not the school teachers. The most powerful is religion. Because those who lead religions are held in such high esteem that even when they lie, people look the other way. Even your politicians are controlled by your religious leaders. When I attended WCRP conference in Nairobi, Kenya. The reason why that conference was called in the first place was to bring together all of Africa's spiritual leadership, because only you, the leaders, the spiritual leaders, have the capacity and the power to speak to millions of people every single Sunday. And that is where the lies are fed. That is where the minds of the people are pulled down to a level where they cannot ask questions, because there are consequences for asking questions. And if you believe there are consequences for asking, for stepping beyond what is expected of you, you allow these things to happen. Why is it happening in Nigeria? We're talking about what's going on in Nigeria. Why is that going on? Is it that the people don't know the truth? They know the truth. But what opium has them at the level that they can't speak up? Yeah, they speak up and all of that, but they can't act. The people are held back mentally. This is why, and don't even begin to think that your politicians don't know that. That's why they go to the churches. You did not be so.
It's true. Absolutely.
That's why they go to the churches. Because they know what the churches will do for them. The politicians know.
Yep.
You go to the church, you tell them, you grease their palms, you give the pastor what you want him to have, and then he just tells the people, you know, hey, it's the way Chineke wants it, it's the way God wants it, it's the way Allah wants it, it's the way Jesus wants it, all of that. And because of that, people don't ask questions. People don't ask questions. People don't act. They are conditioned not to ask questions. That's why the politicians know what they're doing. They know you're not going to do anything. They know you're not going to. The most religious country in the world is probably Nigeria. It's one of the most, as a matter of fact, they take Nigerians to the foreign lands to revitalize their churches. The Catholic churches are surviving because of the help that we give them. We don't offer our own people that kind of help, but we give it to the church. And as long as we're not asking questions, we will always be vulnerable and we'll always be the victims. But the sad thing is, don't play the victim card when you are indeed embracing being a victim. You're embracing it. Oh, that's why they say, I'm telling the truth. The truth is, as long as you're playing the victim card, you don't act. You blame somebody. But find out who's causing you to be the way you are. Why are you so ineffective in your own well-being? For your own well-being, why are you so ineffective? Why is it that we cannot? Why is it that I can go to Nigeria today and I see trash everywhere? Who is conditioning you to think that it's not your responsibility to clean? Who's conditioning you to think that this earth, this life that you have is bad, and only when you die you will find a better land, a better place, and that's why you can't clean up where you are? That's why when you see all kinds of mess going on, you don't do anything, because you know what? When you get to that holy place, there'll be nothing but gold and silver all over. The angels will be singing and the harp will be playing, and your life will be so good. So let it rot here while you live. Let the politicians have their way. They will see. They will be punished. Who's going to punish them?
Thank you. I was deferring
God will
to
punish
the
them. Which God? Which God is going to punish them? Why do you defer to a spirit when you have the power, when that spirit has given you the power to act? People are always, say, well, it's God's will. It's not God's will. It's not God's will that you suffer. It's your will. It's not God's will that you allow yourself to be abused. It's your will. At some point, you become a grown-up and start asking questions. Your mind is a terrible thing to waste, and it's wasted every single day. When I go, I used to just glue myself to YouTube to hear about what's going on in Nigeria. I've tuned out campaigns and all of that because I thought, oh my God, there's hope for Nigeria. But I don't anymore. I don't anymore. I don't look for it. I don't, because my people, and I'm talking about my people all over the world, we're so vulnerable to deception. But it's God's will. I wonder where that God is as it applies to all these other people taking advantage of us. What God do they have? What God do they believe in? That God that tells you, trust and obey. There is no other way for you to be but to trust and obey. There's no other way to be happy in Jesus, in the Lord, but to trust and obey. So what do? You trust and obey. You ain't got no food to eat. You trust and obey. You don't have food to eat. You trust and obey. You don't have gas for your car. You trust and obey. You're paying taxes. You trust and obey. You're trusting and obeying who?
The person giving it to you.
The cheers.
That's who you obey.
When we come forward and say, your condition in the world can change once you wake up. Ask questions. Ask questions. Nyocha, seek. Seek for information for your own betterment. Seek for information for your own betterment. The fox in the hen house will not tell the hen which direction to go to escape. Once he's in the hen house, he intends to eat. The only thing he's going to tell that hen, if he could talk, was sit your little behind right there because I'm coming after you. This is what they're doing to us. They're in the hen house. And they tell us, close your eyes, your knees, and pray for that place. So beautiful heaven and with all the gold and silver and everything. And your eyes are closed and they're snatching and taking away. And ultimately, people don't understand. And I look at what's going on don't think that what happened in Germany will not happen again. Dibias said it earlier. We are an endangered species. And because we're not paying attention, we're easy targets. Have you ever seen a black man being beaten, UD?
Yeah.
And the people don't say anything. They just take pictures.
They take pictures, yeah.
In the meantime, by the time you're done with your pictures and the investigation, your brother is...
You're frozen.
We've stopped acting. When you ask questions, you don't act. When things happen, it comes as a surprise to you. And you wonder, what happened? There are three kinds of people. I say it all the time. Those who make things, those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and then those who say, what the heck happened? We are the people who say, what the heck happened? We don't make anything happen. It's after it has happened, then we ask questions. Waiting now. How can this happen? You were watching it. You saw it happening. You didn't ask any questions. And then after it happens, you say, what happened? I just want the audience to know one thing. It isn't what people do to you that's the problem. It isn't. It never is. It's never what the people do to you that's your problem. It is what you continue to allow to happen to you. That's the problem. Because it's like a dog. You all know this It's nothing new I'm saying to you here. When a dog is tied to a tree for a long time, when the rope is removed, the dog still stays there. The dog will not move. It believes that it's still tied up. That's where we are. We are not Ajaju. Oh, chukwu. God wants it like this. God wants us to be just like this. Really? If you don't listen to your ears and those eyes, people would use their eyes. They'll give you their eyes and their ears. And it's never a good thing, because you're not hearing through your ears and you're not looking through your eyes. The world is a Serengeti, survival of the fittest. Whether we like it or not, everybody wants to survive. The question is, do you want to survive? Do you want to survive? If you want to survive, you're going to have to start asking questions and start looking for the truth, because that's the only thing that will hold you up and keep you up and help you to walk in holy boldness, to have the boldness to say, hey, Father, no. This is not good. This is not who we are. This is not who I am. But when you continue to run from the truth, you will never find the truth that will set you free. You will always be a vulnerable citizen of the world. What the Europeans thought as weakness when they came to Africa was not weakness. The fact that we supported each other, the fact that we fed each other. There was nothing like poverty in the real sense, unless you had famine and that sort of thing. Poverty was not existent in the sense that when we say it takes a village, that's the real deal. It takes a village. We took care of each other. It was not just talk, it was real. We believe in helping each other. Right now, human beings are nothing. They're expendable. It's gone to the point that we look on the news and we see all these dead babies in the Palestine, or Palestinian babies and women and men, and what happened to the Israelites, the Jews that were bombed. I think it was 1,400 that died, but now over 11,000 Palestinians have died. It's nothing to a lot of us now. It's nothing to a lot of us. We need to find out why is this happening and nobody. Look, think about it. If you think it's the Palestinians, babies, I'm saying this to you, my people, you better look at yourself. There's nothing that makes you any more special than the Palestinians.
They're looking at it from religious prejudices, group thinking.
You can be easily purged. You're easily purged. What's going on in Nigeria? You're being purged. The Igbos are being purged. Nobody's saying anything because it's become acceptable. They don't belong here. We have created a strata of those who belong and those who don't belong, those who could die and those who shouldn't die. Instead of allowing natural order, I certainly don't believe, and UD, I'll go to you in a second. I don't believe that we all have to live forever. Of course we do. We can't live forever. That's why you have old age to take some of us out of the picture, because the world can only sustain so much. You have catastrophes that do the work. That's nature in action. But the one that is not normal is for human beings to exterminate other human beings. That's what's not normal. And that's what we sit and watch, because we don't want to investigate what is happening, because it's happening to the next person. It's not happening to us. It's happening to other people. But just understand, you keep your quiet. You just be quiet. Ultimately, that foolishness will come to your door. It's done in the past. It can happen again. But it is up to us, isn't it? UD? Yudi.
Yeah, I'm just sitting over here thinking, you know, we've lost our minds. And that's the truth. You know, truth is a quality of state of being. You know, it's in accordance with fact and reality. That's what truth is. And the fact and reality is that we have lost our minds. And I'm being specific right now, not just the general spiritual, you know, knowledge, but specifically to Nigerians. And I'm not going to say people of African ancestry, because I see what's going on in Niger. They're embracing the truth. I see what's going on in Burkina Faso. They're embracing their truth. I see what's going on in Guinea. They're embracing their truth. And their truth is France has been a detriment to their growth. And they decided to expunge France from everything they're doing economically and otherwise. We don't need France. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys realize this, for the past 3 months, ever since Niger exorcised France from their psyche, do you know that Niger is now the fastest growing economy in Africa and the 4th fastest growing economy in the world? Did you know that? Burkina Faso is now the 6th fastest growing economy in Africa.
Yes.
Fact. Because the $200 an ounce of uranium that France was selling to the international market, Niger is now doing the same thing for 200 as opposed to getting 87 cents an ounce that France was paying them. All of a sudden, they rise. And those states that have exercised Europe are like the fist coming together to strike a mighty blow. They now realize that the truth of the matter is we don't need these people. We could do business with them as opposed to depending on them. That's the truth. That's reality. Nigeria hasn't learned that. And I'm afraid that Nigeria is not going to learn that because it doesn't have the proliferation of foreign religion like Niger. Niger doesn't have that. They got Islam for the most part, and I'm sure they got Christians and all that. But there are no mega churches in Burkina Faso. There's a level of Pan-Africanism that is going on there. Nigeria doesn't have that on any level. There's no Madubuchi Bear, I'm my brother's keeper. We see each other in Nigeria as enemies. That's the truth. We stopped seeking knowledge when the Bible and the Quran came to our shores to tell us we didn't know Chineke. Even though the name Chidozie is older than colonization or slavery of Africans. We see Chineke in our names as Africans, and yet we continue to embrace the notion that we didn't know Chineke before Beke came to Africa or the Arab came to our shores with the Quran. That's our problem. That's the truth. Self-hatred in Africa. That's the truth. Nigeria is run by bandits. That's the truth. We're not rich. Nigeria claims to be the richest country in Africa. That's a lie. We're not an industrialized nation, so we cannot be rich. We don't have enough wealth for 300 million people when we have no ability, mentally speaking, to bring infrastructure to sustain an economy so that the regular folk can become the majority of the employer. We don't have to be successful just because we are in government. That's not how it works over here. 90% or more of employers in America are private businesses. 90% of people that are rich in this country are private business owners and businesses, commerce, interstate, infrastructure to sustain it. They are very wealthy because you have leadership that understands that taxation is necessary, but it's based on output, both personal and business taxes, water, internet, what do you call it? Electricity. good roads. Those are very important when it comes to commerce. I'm not interested how much money you're putting in your pocket from the government coffers. It doesn't bother me, as long as you're able to do for the people, so that we too can experience a level of success in our endeavors, to be able to dream and work towards this dream, to be able to move products from the east to the west without the products getting stuck on the road somewhere and rotting away, particularly agricultural products. It's happening now in Nigeria. I was watching a video. All the products in this 18-wheeler truck all rotted on the road because the road was so bad. All these, rigs, all these 18-wheelers all stuck. Agricultural products rotting away. I have no hope for Nigeria unless we embrace the truth. Unless we embrace the truth that we are our own worst enemy. The leadership in Nigeria will not do what it is it's doing if the people themselves say no. I said you cannot hold the people at gunpoint that don't want to be held. Nigeria is in a situation that it's in now because of us. It's not because of Tinubu. It's not because of Buhari. It's not because of the military. It's not because of anybody. It is us that are cowards and don't have the guts to say, never again. Say what you want about the Jews, and I hate their politics and what they're doing to the Palestinians. But guess what? They made alliances and said, never again. Even though the alliances they made are with the same people that were persecuting them for hundreds of years in Europe. But the Jews said never again, and whatever it takes, we're going to build this Jewish country and make it whatever it is. And we're going to get a lot of people upset. They went to war in 1971 against the Arab countries, and they won that war with the help of the United States and the West. But they won it. You cannot hold the people at gunpoint that don't want to be held. The reason Nigeria is the way it is, it's not just because of this religious bigotry and dogma that is going on in the country, but it is because of the Nigerians themselves. That if they want the country to be better, they will demand better. That's the truth. Since we're on the topic of truth, we will seek knowledge. We will change Nigeria if we had the guts, but we don't have the guts. That's the truth. Peter Obi won the presidency and he's not president. And the reason why? Because nobody wants to face the bullet. Nobody wants to shut the country down. Russia was shut down in 5 days. And in 5 days, perestroika, Russia handed over from the communist government to a democratically elected government. It happened. It happened in Egypt. It only took 7 days. Mubarak was gone. Who would have thought, after damn near 40-something years of leadership, that you get rid of Mubarak just like that? So, Nigerians, if you want a better country, you need to face the truth that we are weak and don't really want any better for ourselves or our children or for our future. That's the truth of the matter.
That is the truth. And on that note, we are going to end today because we have something else we have to do today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all of you who joined us. And again, let me apologize for the challenges we had with the internet. And I will look for next Sunday. Remember, Chiis University Mahadum has opened, and looking forward to registrations. We have somebody who has registered for natural theology. Interesting. And we talk about it, be about it, go and register if you don't want to register. If you can't afford to register, send somebody. All of us are enrollment counselors. But I just want to congratulate, however, Chukwu, who is now our enrollment counselor, and also Musa Ododo, who is also a enrollment counselor. So there are some members here of the university who are waiting for the meeting we're supposed to have. So we are going to say good day to the rest of you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And hopefully see your name on the list of individuals that are going to be joining Chase University. On that note, let me say good day, all of you. The rest of you, please stay on. Instead of us using Zoom, we're just going to go ahead and use a StreamYard, since it seems like we're all here, so we might as well just use it here. Gordon, thank you for watching. Dozier, thank you very much. UD, of course, what can I say about you? Thank you all so much. Have a good day. Just a minute.